Hi, and welcome to The Scene with Nick, Lance, and Amber. Tonight we're going to be reviewing The Last of Us Episode 2.
Yep.
Which literally just aired about an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, we had to talk about episode 1 first.
Yeah.
Oh, we wanted to try and catch some of this lightning in a bottle as the episodes came out. So hopefully we can, grab a few eyes on the way from it's a really great episode to, okay, well, it's been out for a week. So
Yeah, it seems once the episode comes out is when it's hot to talk about.
Yes.
Rather than wait until the end of the season. And
Yeah.
if people like this format better, we'll stick with it for shows that are coming out. Otherwise, we'll go back to batching them at the end of the,
or at least shows that
are popular.
that we want to do. Like, just because they're popular doesn't necessarily mean if it wasn't going to be on our radar to watch or something that 2/3 majority was super excited for, maybe not, but
climbing the postings.
I guess it also depends on how they put it out too.
Yeah.
If they put it out all at once, we can review it all at once.
Yeah.
But well, the new old way of doing it, of episode week by week, which I go back to bulk watching, please.
I don't think Disney and HBO are going to go back
they don't
to
want
that.
that. You don't get as much money from that.
No.
And also, it leaves the
The water cooler talk
it
is
leaves
very
the,
popular.
It leaves the popular zeitgeist a little bit sooner because you give people one episode a week to watch. They'll watch it and then they'll start talking about it, and then after another week, the next episode for now people are talking about your show for 9 weeks instead of 2 weeks.
Well, so I have trouble just watching like the one episode, and then when we sit down to record sometimes, like I'll say certain things, and then when the camera turns off, I'm like, fuck, I forgot to mention this, I forgot to mention this, I forgot to mention this. So at least this way, it's going to help me retain some of the major beats in the show.
Sure.
But
Which I guess of importance is we're going to be talking about beats in the show.
Yes.
Therefore, spoilers.
Yes,
Go
very
check
much
out
spoilers.
Go check out episode 2 of The Last of Us before you watch this one.
right.
I mean, at this point in time, if you're 2 episodes in, I would say keep watching.
Yes.
So they're doing a little bit of time skip that I noticed from this episode because it went from them outside of the leaning buildings to them sleeping already in the leaning buildings. So they got out of
The QC.
Yeah, and then like they ended up in like one of the buildings. It
Yeah.
looks like of the leaners.
Okay.
So at least we're not gonna get them. Like we're not gonna have to worry about like the jump scare every turn in the show. Like they're leaving like a lot of the, move the package from point A to point B. If there's nothing going on in point B, we could just settle at point C. So
And then less of them stopping at every trunk to find ammo and supplies.
they better do it once or twice, at least, because like I told Amber at the beginning of the show, if there's not help actions and there's not like things that make noise, incidental things that make noise, it's not going to be a great show for me. And they're already kind of doing all of that in just one episode, which is very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of do incidental noises in this one a bunch. And just like kind of give you like that, why would you do that? Like when Ellie goes in and just kind of rings the bell and is playing concierge or whatever.
Yeah. I was like, that was like, oh God. As soon as she started tapping that bell. Ding, ding, ding,
I was
ding,
going,
ding,
oh
ding.
God, as soon as they opened the outside door, I was just like, oh my God, clicker. That thing sounded like a damn clicker.
It
Yeah.
did, but I mean, it sounded also like a rusty, creaky door to me. So I was just
they
like,
did that on purpose.
Yeah.
After they're done sleeping, you open the door, you get a bit of a click creak.
yeah.
Just to kind of draw your attention.
And I like how the show started off with like, okay, here's the cordyceps monsters, and then they do there's ones that do this and there's ones that do that. Just don't step on shit on the ground. And then like the next one we really get to see are the fucking clickers, and those things were badass. Oh my God, I want to be a body model for a clicker. I'm just walking around like that. Those I don't know. I'd love to see the behind the scenes, the special effects for that.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll.
I
be
mean,
one
they
of-
looked excellent. Like they looked really, really.
Yeah, but so far the effects have been pretty good, especially like the vistas or whatever, where you kind of like check out the city. I'm like, I don't know if a building can lean on another building, but it looks cool.
Yeah. One thing I really liked about this episode, which goes back to the whole like theorycraft thing I discussed in the first episode, was the fact that we hopped over to Jakarta, which is giving me verification that obviously was the flower is clearly ingrained, was clearly one of the key points that got infected, because they had the myconologist who was brought in by the it was Jakarta's Indonesia, so Indonesian government to review it, and you had the gross tendrils growing out of the mouth, and it's like, oh gosh. And I loved how her resolution when they're like, what do we do? How do we fight it? How do we cure it? And she's like, you don't cure it, just bomb the cities, bomb them all.
Yeah, just bomb the city. and then it's like, yeah, I want to go home. To the giving into the resolution that like, no, bomb me too.
Yeah.
Like I'm part of it. Like I'm here, bomb me.
It's frightening. Like it's when she goes in, she pulls the things out of the mouth and then like drops the camera. The guy's like, "Was a vaccine cure?" They're like, "Nope." And then when she said the bomb, I was like, she went from really civil acting to like really bleak fast. So this has got to be It's got to be fucking horrible.
Yeah, well, I mean, she studied. I mean, she was a professor of myconology, so she studied, funguses her whole life, and then her name wasn't. Why did I suddenly blank on his name? I collect mold spores and funguses.
Oh, it's Egon.
Egon. I don't know why I suddenly blanked on it. So a Bankman popped in my head. But
That's a big Twinkie.
Yeah, but Egon, she's not Egon, so she's not like just doing. She's interested in, it's not just a hobby. This is what she studied. This is what she's made her career around. So she's going to be an expert in her field, even if she's some doctor over in Indonesia.
I'm sure there's been studies of like, can we save ants from what's going on here? Because I mean, that's a thing you probably want to know.
Yeah.
If eventually this fungus gets into, the bees or something like that.
Yeah.
That could, ruin your
ecosystem.
crop.
I mean, and the ants are an important part of the ecosystem down in Brazil too. So I mean, it's important to know if there's something they could do.
Yeah. So I'm sure it's a thing that they're already studying, knowing that like once they get it, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
Well, it's, I guess, to me, the really, really frightening part about the whole thing is I don't remember ever seeing gigantic bomb holes in the fucking cities in the game. I think that was something they added to the show.
Well, they might have just decided to see what can we do to make it seem more feasible of realistic government actions to bring the tension up a notch. So I don't know. I don't remember there being any bomb holes, but I mean, it was the bomb hole in Boston was obviously a direct parallel to the scene from Jakarta where she said that, so other governments were like, well, this is a way to try to eradicate it, to bring it under control.
I'm sure other specialists or whatever would come to similar conclusions.
Yeah.
And it might explain why some of the buildings are leaning or whatever too.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like they bombed it so bad that the city was still there.
Yeah, you had the one building leaning on the other.
They might have firebombed it, which that would have just really more impacted the streets. Because I mean, we see where fire seems to be an effective tool against them.
Burn the spores out or whatever.
But I will say this episode kind of continued with the same as the last one, where like I sit and watch in like complete and utter tense stress for the entire length of the episode. I don't feel like I can move. I feel like I have to stay quiet. When they were telling Ellie, no, we're going to be silent and everything.
Not quiet, so.
He made a joke about the fact that he could hear me holding my breath suddenly.
There's a point where like when they walk or when they're in the museum and you run into the clickers for the first time and then it gets quiet for a second and I could hear Amber in the back. She's behind me like, and then the clickers came out and she went, and like she just held her breath and it got so quiet on the TV that I could hear she was still holding her breath, and I looked back at her and was like, good luck sleeping tonight, baby. I could tell.
They did the whole clicker scene though so great.
It was neat. I feel no tension. Ellie and Joel are fine. Tess is not fine.
Yeah.
And I kind of, whenever you see promotional images or whatever, here's, Joel and Ellie, and there's not Tess way in the background, so I'm like, okay. I love, we'll see how long you stick around. It wasn't very long.
Yeah, that was one of those things that when I was doing some of my following of people who were watching the first episode who weren't knowledgeable about the game, and they were talking about, I love Anna Torv, the actress who's playing Tess, and I'm like, yeah, don't get attached in my head every time.
I mean, it was a little bit quicker than I expected, but she at least went out like a pimp.
Yeah,
I mean, cover the oil bells and be like, this is gonna be better.
They mentioned at the end
nice
of
kiss.
Oh, that was gross.
That's gonna win MTV's Hottest Kiss. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Probably, but I think the guy even got credited in the end credits. I thought I saw as like Infected Kissing Man was the name of the guy, and it's like I know who that was. But no, it's just I think for me, I'm feeling the tension because like watching Lance play the games, I always felt the tension of oh gosh, he's got to sneak around and be quiet, and so I always felt that, and I feel like watching this kind of like watching him play the game. So even though, yeah, Joel and Ellie are gonna, if you die, you just get a restart, but the tension from that still just kind of exists for me in a way that The Walking Dead never had that kind of tension for me.
So I'll say one thing real quick that whenever I played The Last of Us, I started the game, watched my roommate play it, had no interest in playing it. Then when we bought like a PlayStation 4, I think we got a remastered version of it for free.
Yeah.
And everyone's still like going crazy about this game, and the ending surprisingly had not been ruined for me. Because when Joe got to that point, he was like, I don't know if you're ever going to want to play this game, so you might just like walk out the room for a few minutes. So I like went down into another room or whatever, but went back, played it, loved it. I like to play Ninja in the games. She can attest. I'm the person who likes hoarding stuff. Like if I pick up glass, bullets, if I pick up cogs, like any of that stuff, I hoard everything because you never know when you'll need it. And at the end of the game, she made the comment one time where she's like, congratulations, you beat the game and you had like half of your inventory still on you. That's fine. You never know when you'll need that stuff. He does the
same in Resident Evil.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just don't, because then if you spend everything, then you've got 4 bullets to deal with like some big monster that shows up. So I like shivving everything in the head because I like being quiet. I don't like shooting my gun and disrupting everything.
It seems like shooting the gun just makes more noise.
Yeah, and then more of them come at you. So like I like sneaking around and just shivving everything because it's just, to me, it's more fun if you can like you throw the brick, it looks, and the next thing you know, it gets a fucking piece of steel to the eye. The part that really made me pucker in this episode was when they were sneaking around and Joel is telling her, be quiet. And then she just does the, and that's all it fucking took for that thing to spin around and get pissed. And then when he was doing the bullets, where he was like cupping them into his hand, and the fucking camera pans where you can't see it, and I said, it's right fucking there. I know it's right there, and sure enough, it was right there.
I guess during that scene, I was expecting like him to unload them and then like toss them away from him to act as a sound trap or something like that.
See, they haven't done that.
But he just puts it like directly in the pocket.
Yeah.
Well, you never know. Like sometimes you can use the shells to repack. So who knows how precious ammo is? I don't know if that's a thing that.
No, well, they mentioned in the first episode, the Fedra, that there was a plant in Atlanta that was making pills and bullets.
And that's
bullets and pills. So in theory, somebody is making bullets, and so it could be he's saving since he's using a revolver, he's trying to save what he can of it so he can repackage them.
Yeah. All you need is gunpowder and lead at that point in the pen. So yeah, you have to save the casings.
Yeah, which could be. I just kind of saw that stuff coming out, like, ooh, sound makers.
Yeah,
I guess not.
But I did love him stepping on the glass.
Yeah, and that was the part that actually, like, I held my breath when, as soon as he stepped in the glass, I was like, you done fucked up. But I told her in the beginning, I want to see help actions, them getting the boards and here you go, or I'll go through here and I'll open the store. They did that this episode. Loved it. When they walked into the hotel and there was water, Amber goes, you're probably going to get your pallet here. And I was like, what? She goes, the pallet. And it's like, as soon as Ellie's like, I can't swim, I was like, oh my God, they're going to do the pallet. And then Joel was like, it's up to my fucking knees. She's like, oh, okay. So we're not going to get that yet.
But they set up, she doesn't know how to swim, so they might be able to do that at a later point.
But they did the glass. And the only other thing that I want to see is I want to see them go, brick. What was that noise? Shiv. Like,
or at least sneak by.
Yeah.
Use it to sneak by.
Yeah, use sound as a distraction to either get away or murder.
Well, he did that. I think he did that with the statue when he was running down the hallway.
Yeah. He smashed it into the glass to make the noise to get it to stop for a second.
And that's when he reloaded.
Yeah. But like, it's the attention.
And see him reloading, like, I guess because in the game, Joel can die at any point and you just restart, but you don't necessarily want to die. So the whole time, every time like he's doing something, like even though yes I know Joel probably has the thickest of plot armors to get to the where the story's going, at the same time I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, at no point can you just stop and like munch down on something to get your health back or anything like that. So
Especially not chips; those are crunchy.
oh yeah, oh they're so
Only the softest of foods. You get pudding
Ooh,
oh god.
and applesauce,
Lance would be down for the
Yeah,
pudding.
no, I'm halfway with you right now.
but you can't crunch the package into your mouth, so which means you got to find some sort of spoon system.
Just
And
use your tongue.
don't scrape the side. You can't scrape the side. You can't like you finish a cup of pudding. You can't scrape the side to get all the pudding.
I'm back out. No, this sounds like hell.
You just use your tongue, Lance. It's a natural spoon.
And just open it up, put it to your mouth, and hoover it in.
But just squid. Okay, I'm back in. I'm back in.
See if you can shotgun pudding in your throat.
Amber and I have had these conversations about if we would survive in these futures.
No.
Now,
Amber said, I'd try to keep you alive as long as I
No.
can. Now, here's me on this particular episode, on episode 2. It's like, yeah, I might be able to survive in this world. And then as soon as they threw her a magazine to wipe her ass with, I was like, nope, I'm dead. I'm dead. It's over for me.
do you know where I know you wouldn't make it?
Where's that?
When Joel and Tess climbed up 10 stories of flights.
I'd have been on the second floor like,
Because you have to do that quietly.
no. Oh, dude. So by the time I got to the 10th floor, I'd be... Yeah, it would have been bad.
Yeah.
I think I'd go upstairs and like my knees would click or something like that.
I would hope 20 years of running from zombies, I'm not still this. I'm just saying.
I don't know. They look like, for the most part, they were stuck in Boston.
Yeah, but I mean, still, like, they said that the bomb that went off there pretty much got the majority of it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't bad like it was in other places, but still, when when she asked Joel, "Have you killed a lot of them?" He's like, "I've killed a lot of them."
Yeah, well, it sounds
So-
like he's been doing.
Yeah, but
I
he-
want to see what some of the shit he went through.
I think we're going to get some
hope so.
flashbacks for probably with him and Tommy.
I think the falling of the civilization is more interesting to me than civilization has already fallen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once civilization falls, then, like I brought up in the last episode, in The Walking Dead is, society collapsing. Last of Us is society's gone.
Mm-hmm.
In The Walking Dead there's the zombies are the monsters, and then you slowly see the people turning into monsters, and in The Last of Us, you've already learned the people are the monsters at the end of the day. The infected are obviously terrible monsters too, but people are kind of monsters as well, and so it's one of those things, and you only get a glimpse
Yeah, we've not
of
seen
the stuff in Fedra.
Yeah, we've not seen
With
people
being
awful
monstrous,
yet. Yeah.
but you've heard rumors, and you have like the double-edged sword of what happened to the little kid who showed up at the QZ is like
Okay.
that was a humane killing, but it was also awful at the same time. But again, they killed him in the most humane way they could have, and they brought him a sense of peace beforehand. So again, not the worst monsters, but then you had the guy who was,
selling the gammy battery again
Yeah.
or whatever.
Are you hungry? And we're gonna give you toys, and you're gonna get to play with every toy you want to. We're just gonna give you a little bit of medicine, just to make you feel better. If you're giving me medicine, why didn't you swab the area with an alcohol first?
I'm actually pretty sure they don't have alcohol swabs anymore.
You put the needle through my shirt.
Yeah, we're not wasting time on you.
It's the needle went through my shirt. Wouldn't you Yeah. The one thing I would like to also point out in this particular episode that was different from the game is that the way Tess went out, she went out with Fedra.
Yeah, the
Soldiers.
final fight at the State House was different.
So the State House was her fighting humans, not being overrun by cordyceps monsters. So.
But she was infected.
Yeah, well, no, she got bit, but she got bit sneaking through the State House area.
Yeah.
Or through the museum. And it happened off camera like it did kind of on this one, too. I was kind of hoping that it would be on her leg. So, like, when Joel was taping up her feet with the electrical tape, that he was, like, that close to discovering where it was.
Yeah.
Like, I was kind of hoping it would have happened that way. And I'm going to have to go back and watch the episode again. But I know she went off, and then Ellie and Joel were off on their own. And then they're all fighting the things. Like, I hope that when I go back and watch it, you can hear Tess taking out the one that bit her.
No,
No, they
Joel.
didn't.
Joel killed it.
Did he?
That was the one she axed in the head.
Yeah,
Got it.
She was running away,
Okay.
but I knew, even though I knew she was going to get bit at some point in this episode, most likely, I knew she had been bit by that point because the creature had blood all over its
I know
mouth.
that.
The one that got head, it had a bloody mouth, and that made me think that she's been got.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was from the axe in the head or something like
No,
that.
it looked like
I don't-
the
I don't-
teeth and the lips.
I don't know if they still bleed.
I don't know. It's we're in a different world with this thing with like the follicles coming out of the mouth and shit like that. Like that's all just brand new. So like they could turn a lot of that on its ear. But yeah,
Is there any other standout points in this episode you guys want to bring up?
him palming the bullets, putting the new bullets in the gun. Like I was holding my breath the entire time he was doing that because if they can hear. When he was pouring those things out, I could hear those the tinkle of like the things going.
Now
into his
here's
palm.
something I don't remember. Did the fungus have a underground network that if you stepped on the wrong
That was
spot?
new.
See, I thought that was new. That's utterly terrifying.
Yeah.
Utterly terrifying. And that was like the slightest thing of they shot the guy, he placed his hand basically on a spot and the tendrils wrapped around, and that was all it took to wake up hundreds of them.
And I'm assuming the setup of they showed earlier.
Yeah, I mean,
It kind of sent that hive towards him. or
yeah,
something
that
like
was totally the high that.
And the way it reminded me of when you watch some of these videos of like the fungus, the wasps or whatever that implant their young in the cockroaches or whatever, and then like they
eat the chest burster the way out.
and then like when the thing dies, you see the things like burrowing out of them. When that dude turned and they shot him in the head, you saw the cordyceps coming out of his fingers, which tapped into that network, which woke up those other things. And Tess went through great pains to say, if you step on anything, it wakes them up. And next thing you know, they're all on you. That's the moment, like, I had that vision in my head, because, like, that when that host died, that thing did not waste time jumping out of the body, being like, over here, guys.
Well,
over
I
here."
wonder if when the zombies die, they're the things that grow into those networks. Mm-hmm. So I could kill a couple here.
No, I think
then
it is,
They're going
which
to
is
keep growing.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously they can be they can desiccate and die off like anything else, which is what happened at the museum for
Yeah.
a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Tess had a much cooler death in this episode because, like, she just basically gets straight up got by humans in the show, holding them off so Joel and Ellie could get away. It was just more gross in this one, but it was more epic. Her going down in the blaze of glory with fucking gasoline and grenades. That's great.
Yep.
It's good stuff.
cool.
And the grossest kiss she's ever received.
But it was so tender.
Another grossest kiss is oh god, I don't remember the name of the movie. It was a spoof movie where they were spoofing the one with Sarah Michelle Gellar and the one person, because they did a spoof of not She's All That. It was like
Yeah.
what's the one with Chris Evans?
Oh, is it not another teen movie?
Yeah, not another teen movie.
Right.
They spoofed the kiss scene from that Sarah Michelle Gellar and the one did
Cruel Intentions.
in Cruel Intentions, and you get like the longest saliva trail.
I don't know. Hairy tendrils kind of really grossing me out.
It was so. That was the part that confused me. It's like she's kind of like up against the wall. Most of them are running by her. And that one was just kind of like looked at her, and then he just kind of.
Hey, come on, just
Oh,
walked over.
he just kind of like strolled up to her and like gave her the kiss to like spread the thing to her. But it's like, I guess it reacts how you react. So if you're like, then it's just, then it's all over, then it's freaking out. Because like when Joel runs across it in the first episode, the one thing that like popped its head up, he just ran from it. So that thing was like diving after him. And this one just was kind of like, hey baby.
Well, I think most of them ignored her because A, she wasn't moving, but B,
They didn't
I
have
think
eyes anymore.
yeah, and also I don't know how much they can sense that maybe she was already infected, but also
Well, I wonder if the one with if that's how they spread it to corpses, and if she's just standing still, maybe she just looks like a corpse, and they
Yeah.
walk over and just kind of spread it into them.
yeah, or it was just like I'm just gonna hurry you along.
Well, just still, good job.
Yeah.
Great episode.
All right. Anything else we want to add about this one?
No, I think I'm good.
I think we hit all the major beats, yeah.
Okay. Then I guess join us for episode 3 in a week.
Yeah.
Say down in the comments if we're like missing certain things or if you'd like to see us talk more extensively about other things. But like for the most part, we're assuming that you've seen the show, and
Yeah.
so
All right. Well, join us in a week.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Later.